online class. Hope you people are safe. This is Sheila, your computer science teacher. In last class, we saw chapter 8, iteration and recursion. What is iteration? What is recursion? And we also saw what is loop invariant, isn't it? What is loop invariant? Good morning, children. Welcome to online class. Hope you people are safe. This is Sheila, your computer science teacher. In last class, we saw chapter 8, iteration and recursion. What is iteration? What is recursion? And we also saw what is loop invariant, isn't it? What is loop invariant? In loop invariant, the value will be constant even after assignment. Even before and after the assignment, the value is going to be same. We just saw few examples as well, isn't it? U plus b, u minus b, both the time the value was 35 itself. You people remember or not? That is what is actually termed as what? Invariant. The value will not change even after and before and after the assignment. Yes, we solved certain problems, isn't it? We also saw square root numbers in last class. You people remember? Yes, how the iteration works. Now let us move on to the next problem. Recall the chocolate bar problem of example 6.11. How many cuts are needed to break the bar into individual squares? This was one problem that we had in our 6th lesson, isn't it? Chocolate bar. Dividing a chocolate bar into pieces such that each and every bar is going to stay as an individual square. We decided to represent the number of pieces and the number of cuts by variables p and c. So how are we going to divide? Is p represents number of pieces and c represents number of cuts. Whenever a cut is made, the cut increases by 1 and the number of pieces will also increase by 1. Yes or no? When I cut, what will happen? The piece and the cuts will increase. So p represents piece and c represents cut. Yes, so p plus 1 and c plus 1. P comma c is equal to p plus 1 plus c plus 1. Here p represents p plus 1 and c represents c plus 1. The process of cutting the bar can be modeled by a loop. Why we wanted to get into a loop now? Because we will not be cutting it only one time. We will continue the process several times. The process of cutting the bar can be modeled by a loop. We start with one piece and 0 cuts. Yes or no? There will be one bar and there will not be any cuts initially. This is your initial process. So piece is equal to 1 and cut will be equal to 0. Let the number of individual squares, let n be the number of individual squares. We haven't counted the n now. We haven't counted the n now, right? So what happens when the number of pieces p equals to the number of individual squares n, the process ends. When does it end? The piece, the number of pieces must be equal to the squares, individual squares. Yes, only then what will happen? The process will end. Now what happens initially? What is the process that we have? P comma c is equal to 1 comma 0. What does it represent? You will have one piece. You will have one piece and 0 cuts. This was initial. So while p is not equal to n, the process will continue, and then p is equal to n, what will happen? The process will end. So what happens? Initially p will also get increased by 1, c will also get increased by 1, because as I cut, see, this is going to be your chocolate bar. Initially this is, I'm sorry, I'll draw it neatly here. This is going to be your chocolate bar. Each and every piece. Right now what happens? This is going to be one piece, and cuts is what actually equal to 0, right? One piece, cuts is equal to 0. So what did we had here? We had a chocolate bar, isn't it? This is going to be our chocolate bar. Initially there will be one piece, one chocolate in your hand, and you will not cut it into pieces. Yes, such that what do we represent? P is equal to 1 and c is equal to 0. As I cut, what will happen? Pieces will increase or not? This will be 2 pieces now, isn't it? Pieces will increase. As well the cuts will also increase. Is that understood? Yes. So we represent what? P plus 1 plus comma c plus 1. So p is being represented by p plus 1 and c is represented as c plus 1. See what happens here is see, as we cut, what happens is the pieces will start to increase. The cuts may be reduced, but the pieces will start to increase as we cut several times. So what happens is we can represent that as P minus C is equal to K, where K is just going to be a constant, and P minus C is equal to K is true, as shown in the algorithm that we will see, right? See, before that, just have a look at it. What did we do now? P comma C is equal to 1 comma 0. That we know already. P minus C is equal to K, because pieces will be more when compared to your cuts, and the difference is actually represented as K. Next, till what we have to continue this cutting? Till P is equal to N. So while P is not equal to N, what happens? The cuts and the pieces will be increasing. P plus 1, C plus 1. We have to keep cutting again and again, right? So what happens? When P minus C is equal to K, finally what will happen is P is equal to N. As we cut, what happens? The pieces will be increasing, isn't it? So P plus 1 and the cuts will also increase. So C plus 1. Then what happens? We have also initialized that P minus C is equal to K. The difference will be counted again and again. Yes. Thus, once what will happen is the P will be equal to N as it continues. Fine. So the loop invariant P minus C is equal to K is true at the start of the loop. Moreover, at the start what happens? P minus C will be equal to 1. Therefore, K is equal to 1. And the loop invariant will be P minus C is equal to what? 1. Yes, isn't it? C is equal to 0, P is equal to 1. So P minus C is obviously 1. And at the end of the loop also, it is going to be same. So this is what is actually represented here in the flow chart also. If you are going to represent that with rhombus, some symbols and all, it is your flow chart. Yes. See, P minus C initially 1 comma 0. P minus C is equal to K. K is a constant. This is the start of the loop initially. Till what we have to continue? Till P is equal to N, we have to continue. When we have to continue when P is not equal to N, and we have to stop when P is equal to N. So what happens? How it is actually working? See, P is not equal to N. So the second start of iteration continues. So P will be equal to N. P will be added to 1. So P plus 1. So 1 plus 1 it is going to be 2. C plus 1. What will happen? C plus 1. 0 plus 1. This will be 1. So 2 comma 1. So what will happen is again the iteration will be continuing. Till what will it be continuing? 2 comma 1. P is not equal to N now. So it will be continued again and again. Till what will it be continued? Till the pieces are equal to N. Because say for example the bar has 8 pieces, N will be equal to 8. Pieces starts from 1 now. Till what will it be continued? Till the bar P is equal to be 8 and N will also be equal to 8. Till that the process will be continued. Is that clear? When the loop ends on the line 4, the loop invariant is still true. P minus C will be equal to 1. Yes or no? 4 pieces will be there. Here 5 cuts will be there. When pieces are going to be 4, the cuts will be 3. 4 comma 3. So 4 minus 3 will be equal to 1. It does not change. If it is not going to change, then it is called as invariant. Here we are learning what is invariant. So P minus C is equal to 1, which is loop invariant. And when P is equal to 1, P is equal to N, this is the end of the loop. What did we say? I already told you, bar is going to be like this. Let us consider like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many pieces are there? 1 piece, 2 piece, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So N is equal to 8. Piece will start from 1 because the whole bar will be termed as 1 piece. So when P is equal to 8, when P is equal to N, yes, the process has to end. Till that the cuts will be, initially there is no cut, it is equal to 0. P is initially equal to 1 because 1 piece is there. Again the process has to continue, right? So P plus 1, P plus 1, C plus 1. P actually was 1, 1 plus 1 which is 2. C was 0 plus 1 which is actually 1. So 2 comma 1. The process will be continued again and again till P is equal to n. Clear, children? When the process ends, the number of cuts is 1 less than number of squares. Because the bar is going to be in terms of blocks only, you know. So, the cuts will be lesser than. Yes, the pieces will be more, but the cuts will be less. 1 less. So, there are 6 equally. Now, let us move on to the next problem. There are 6 equally spaced trees and 6 sparrows sitting on these trees. So, there will be 6 trees there. Right, they have equal distances and there are 6 sparrows sitting on the trees. One sparrow is there on each tree. If a sparrow flies from one tree to another, then at the same time another sparrow flies from its tree to the other tree the same distance away, but in opposite direction. Is it possible for all the sparrows to gather on one tree? Just imagine 6 trees are there, they are equally spaced. We have trees equally spaced. On each and every tree there is one sparrow. Let us consider like this. What happens is, in the opposite direction all the birds are flying. And do remember, all the trees are of equal distance. Right? Let us consider it in a circular manner even. So what happens? Every bird has to fly such that they will reach the same tree in the same time. Is it possible for all the sparrows to gather on one tree? Let us index the trees from 1 to 6. The index of the sparrow is currently sitting on. The sparrow is flying can be modeled as iterative step of loop. So now what happens? We are taking the trees as 1 to 6 and the sparrows will also be indexed like that only. First a sparrow sitting on first tree, a sparrow sitting on second tree. This is how we are going to index now. Fine. A sparrows flying can be modeled as an iterative step by step of a loop. We are just going to repeat the steps. When a sparrow at tree I flies to I plus d. Now what happens is, one sparrow of I, right? So we are just going to represent that with an index, right? I is going to fly to the distance I plus d. Another sparrow j. So we are representing sparrows with I, j like that, right? So one sparrow at tree I flies to a tree I plus d. Another sparrow at tree j flies to tree j minus d. Thus, after each iterative step, the sum of the indices of the sparrow remains invariant. Moreover, a loop invariant is true at the start and the end of the loop. What are they trying to say here? Just learn the question again. There are 6 equally spaced trees and each sparrow, one sparrow is sitting in each and every tree. Right, they are equally spaced. This is one point. And if one sparrow is going to fly from one tree to another tree, that too at the same time, and another sparrow is going to fly from its tree to some other tree at the same distance, but in the opposite direction. They are not going to fly in the same direction, but one is going to fly in the opposite direction. That means we are going to use minus here. Is that possible for all the sparrows to gather on one tree? What happens is, they are just going to fly from one tree to the other, in the opposite directions. Yes, if that is going to happen, will they be able to accommodate in a single tree at the same time? So we have just represented the trees as 1 to 6. Yes, now we are going to represent the same as I, j and all. Right? So one tree is being represented as I. When a sparrow sitting on ith tree flies, I plus the tree's number plus the distance they travel. Right? Another bird sitting in j tree flies from there. So j minus d, because it is going to fly in the opposite direction. Right? Thus, after each iterative step, the sum of the indices of the sparrows remains invariant. So what happens is, as you add, what happens is, the sum of the indices of the sparrows is going to be the same. Moreover, a loop invariant is true at the start and the end of the loop. So what happens is, the loop invariant is going to be, loop invariant means what? It has to be true at the start and also at the end of the loop. At the start of the loop, the value of the invariant is s is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, because we are representing each and every tree with numbers. So what is the value of s now? 21. When the loop ends, the invariant has the same value. However, when the loop ends, if all the sparrows were in the same tree, s is equal to 6k. S is equal to 21, loop invariant at the start of the loop. S is equal to 6k, loop invariant at the end of the loop. So 6k is equal to 21. This is how we wanted to take. So loop invariant has the same value at the start of the loop, right? So 21 is a multiple of what? 6. Were you able to follow? Let me repeat. Sum was 21, right? And if they are going to reach the same tree, the tree they are going to choose is going to be represented as k. So how many birds are going to go and sit there? 6 birds are going to sit there. So 6 into k, that will be the sum of all the birds traveling distance, right? Now what happened? How can we represent that? 6k is equal to 21. K is equal to 21 by 6. Yes? See, 6k is equal to 21. Does loop invariant has the same value as at the start of the loop and the end? Actually, 6 birds are going to travel and the distance they are going to reach is going to be 21. They can be termed as loop invariant. But is 21 a multiple of 6? It is not. 21 is not a multiple of 6. Even if I am going to divide, it is going to be like this. Yes, 21 divided by 6. 3 2s are 6, 3 7s are 21. 7 by 2, they are indivisible. Yes, it is not possible. 21 is not a multiple of 6. The desired final values of the sparrow indices is not possible with the loop invariant. Therefore, all the sparrows cannot gather on one tree. What are they trying to say? See, 6k is equal to 21 can be loop invariant, but the result that they wanted cannot be reached. Let us plan like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let us consider each and everything is going to be of same distance. Let us consider everything is going to be of same distance. Here is one sparrow, here is one sparrow, here is one sparrow, here, right? All the sparrows has to travel at the same time to reach one tree, right? If they are going to travel, what will happen is, I am just going to add the distance of everything, which is equal to 21 now. But what will happen is, as they are traveling backward, they will not be able to reach the tree on the same time. Is that clear, children? So, the desired final value of the sparrow indices is not possible with this loop invariant. Now, let us consider a chameleon problem. Even this we have seen, isn't it? There are 13 red, 15 green, 17 blue chameleons on a chrome land. When two chameleons of different colors meet, they both change to the third one. This is what is the rule that we follow. Yes, we even solved it long ago also, isn't it? Both becomes blue, but we have done it for 3, 5, 7, I think. Here it is a quite big number, that's it. Yes, is it possible to arrange the meeting that results in all chameleons displaying the blue color? Now they have taken that everything has to be changed to blue color now. Let green RGB be the number of red, green and blue chameleons. We can model the meetings of two types as an iterative process. A meeting changes. When does it change? R, G, B has to be like this. One from red, one from green has to be reduced and they have to be added to what? They have to be added to blue. Reduce from red, reduce from green, and that will be added to blue now. Yes, because when two different colors meet the third one, they will change to the third color. So what happens? This is how it is going to change. If red and blue is going to meet, they will be changed to green. And if green and blue meets, they will be changed to red. Consider for an example, meeting of red and green chameleon, RGB, right? So what happens? Red will be -1, green will be -1, because what happens? The count will be decreasing, right? They will be changing to the next color. The difference in the numbers of any types either do not change or changes by 3. This is an invariant. So R minus 1 minus of G minus 1, which is equal to R minus G, because minus of R minus 1, because one gets reduced from R and the other one is going to reduce from green. So what happens? To find the difference, you will have minus again. So minus G, minus into minus, plus. Let me write it. R minus 1 minus G, minus into minus, plus 1. So plus 1 minus 1 will be getting cancelled and you will have R minus G. Yes, r minus 1, and again what will happen? B will be added with 2, isn't it? So r minus b minus 3. This is how it just continues. This is true for all three cases. If any two different types differ in numbers by a multiple of 3 at the start of the iterative process, the difference can be reduced in steps of 3 to 0. When the iterative process ends, however at the start, r minus g will be like this: 13 minus 15, which is equal to minus 2. And g minus b is going to be 15 minus 17, which is equal to minus 2. When b minus r, it is going to be 4. No two colors differ in numbers by a multiple of 3. Therefore, all the chameleons cannot be changed to a single color, because each and every time they may meet some other colors as well. So it is not possible for them to get all colors, all chameleons to be of the same color. It is not possible. Fine children, let us stop with this. We shall see jar of marbles in our next class. Thank you.